What's going on YouTube? In this video we're going to be talking about my filtration system in the 120. Right here you're looking at a Sump refugium. This is the trigger system's Ruby 36. Holds roughly about 35 gallons of water. There's two drains that come down from each corner overflow here into the first chamber into 2-micron filter socks. The plumbing is also done below the water line. So you see there's no type of water splashing or bubbles in the first chamber. If you guys notice, I also installed 2 gate valves on both drains. That helps me create a full siphon. So my whole system from display to down here at the sump is completely silent. There's no type of water noise or water splashing in the main display or down here in the sump. Here in the first chamber, we also have the propane skimmer, the Vertex Omega 180i with the internal pump for saving space. The skimmer is currently working under about 7.5 inches of water. And it's been a great skimmer. I really recommend the skimmer. The skimmer is a beast. Water then flows through that center baffle to help with any micro bubbles into the refugium area. In the refugium area, we're currently running a Marine Pure Bio Block instead of live rock. Pretty much does the same work as your live rock, but in my opinion, I think it's way better just because it provides you with a lot more surface area for your beneficial bacteria, the reproduction of your microfauna, and just an overall for your biological filtration. This Marine Pure block can also help the hobbyist that likes running very minimal rock in their main display. So that way you're not really limited to fish and help you out with your biological filtration. You can also limit the amount of detritus that you can accumulate with having live rock. This bio block, I have it sitting on some egg crate. So it has good water flow throughout the whole bio block. And I don't really get any type of detritus buildup in this area. Now, as far as macroalgae, the only type of algae that I'm growing in the refugium area is chaeto. The refugium area is currently being lit up by a Waypoint high output LED 65K. It's been a great refugium light. I've had no issues with it growing my chaeto. I believe there's a 12-inch version. It's a little bit bigger. I believe the one I have now is a 6-inch. But let me go ahead and give you guys a closer look. I'm going to give you guys a look here of the explosion of cocoa pods and microfauna I have down here in this refugium. I'm really happy. It's doing really good. I think I probably go in here every 2 to 3 weeks to trim out. The chunks I take out of chaeto, what I like to do is pretty much just rinse them in my main display, so I can get all those cocoa pods in there before I throw out any chaeto out. As you can see, there's a lot of them. There's so many even going into the water column, into the overflow to the next chamber. You can see some of them swimming into the water column, and they're sucked up by the water flow. It's a lot of life in this refugium. Back there you can see there's the bio block. It's already started to get some coralline algae on it. And yeah guys, overall I'm really happy with how this refugium area is doing. Initially when I first set up my sump, I started off with Miracle Mud. I tried it out for about approximately 8 months. I have no complaints about it. The only reason why I'm not running Miracle Mud at this moment is because I've switched over to the Triton method. And the Triton method just pretty much just requires you to run no type of substrate, just some macroalgae. So yeah guys, the only other thing we have here in the refugium area is a 300-watt titanium heater with its own temperature probe and temperature controller that you can see there at the top. The temperature probe I have through that baffle into the first chamber by the drains. Water then flows over into that filter sponge to help polish out the water a little bit more. Then at the bottom there's a compartment where you can put in some filter media, whether it's a bag of carbon or GFO. Water then travels under into the last chamber where we have our return pump. It's an Eheim 1262 rated for about 900 gallons of water. We also have our dual reactor running carbon and GFO. The dual reactor is being run by an MJ1200 with a ball valve to control flow into the reactors. But yeah guys, in a nutshell, that's my whole filtration system. Nothing complicated, simple setup. In my opinion, I don't think you need all the most expensive equipment or a whole bunch of equipment to be successful. I remember when I first started in the hobby and I was looking at YouTube videos on how to set up a sump. I remember watching videos of these beautiful sump setups with all this equipment and expensive equipment, and then you would go ahead and look at their display and it would be disappointing. It's like it was a waste of money and sump. What's the point of all this expensive equipment if you are still having issues and your display tank doesn't look good? If you guys have noticed, I'm currently not running any type of dosing system, auto top off, or any type of aquarium controller. This tank's been set up for 2.5 years, and for the past 2.5 years I've been manually dosing and topping off. I'm not knocking off automation on a tank. It's great. If you guys take a look, I already have my dosing containers, so I am planning on buying a doser and an auto top off in the future, but I'm really only going to be using that for vacation time. I'll probably turn it on a couple of days or a week before I go on vacation just to make sure everything's working fine, but then once I'm back from vacation, I'm turning everything offline. I'm of the mindset of anything being added to the tank, any type of additive, coral food, I want to be dosing it manually. I want to cut down the guessing game of whether the doser dosed too much, it didn't dose enough, or it didn't dose the right amount of millimeters. I think it's just easier to catch the problem in case something does go wrong. It's because it was my fault and not depending on an actual doser. But like I said, by no means I'm knocking off automation. The times that I've been on vacation, I've actually trained my mother. She's the one that comes over, feeds my fish, and does all the 2-part dosing for me. So that's gone well, but I am definitely going to go ahead and get a doser and an auto top off, because as you guys know, everybody's busy and it just makes it a lot easier when you're on vacation. Now, one of my biggest advice though for the beginner hobbyist is to try to stay away a little bit from the automation in the beginning, just because I think the more engaged you are with your tank, the better you get to know your tank on how it performs or how it does under certain circumstances, and the better you're off catching a problem if something were to go wrong. I mean, just get yourself a good skimmer. The more water volume you can work with, the better. And by no means, guys, I'm an expert. I've only been in the hobby for 2.5 years. I've never owned a tank in my life, not even as a little kid. This setup right here, this 120 you're looking at, this is my first tank ever. And it's proof. I mean, just by keeping things simple, I've had success. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. As always, I thank you guys for watching. And remember, keep briefing simple.